Blessings and greetings. Blessed to stay logically connected with existential eternity. We're now in part 6 of a series. Now is the time to rejoice, plucking inspirations from a Hasidic discourse that was delivered by the 5th Lubavitcher Rebbe at the joyous event of the wedding of his son, namely the Rebbe Rashab, the 5th Rebbe, delivering a Hasidic discourse with Samek Tesamech Rei Yehuvim Kasamechacha Yitzircha Kagan Eden Mikedem. Surely you should cause to rejoice your beloved ones like you cause to rejoice your creations, your primordial creations in the Garden of Eden. This is referring to just as your Creator caused original man and woman, Adam and Eve, Adam and Chava, to rejoice in Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. So too, we, the Jewish people, when we make a wedding, we recall that initial joy, the initial bonding of man and woman, and that tradition of the merit to be brought together with the blessings of the Most High, in a way of outright rejoicing. Simcha, as we call it, chedva, the inner dimension of it. So with that being said, the Rebbe Rashab wants us to understand that there's something that actually precedes outward expressions of joy, of simcha begiloi. And that is something which we can experience on a daily, and if we're masters of these concepts in Torah, on every moment of our waking lives. It's really something that the masters truly master. Masters of joy, masters of wisdom, masters of understanding, masters of the ability to connect to the essence of wisdom and to connect to the essence of understanding, namely that in right brain configuration, our brains are hardwired to perceive perception. Therefore, at the point that we are very right brain moded, such a word can be used in that fashion, at that moment where we're perceiving properly something which is very profound, there's not an outward expression of joy. It's more connected to a more inner type of experience called Giloi Oneg, an expression of delight. That we see that when a person initially finds something new, he or she, whatever it might be, they are greeted by the good news that they found a new job, there was an addition to the family. Then the initial reaction of the perception is, in a sense, a kind of aloof type of connection, experience. But usually when it's something very tangible and physical manifestation, a raise, a new job, an addition to the family, good news about a friend, we experience that profound moment for that micro nanosecond, however you want to divide up a second of living experience, and it's grasped immediately by our left brain thinking, and we express the joy, Mazel Tov, good fortune, Baruch Hashem, blessed is the Creator, Shechayanu Kimani, that we are meriting to live and be maintained through this new experience in our life, which we usually make a blessing called the Baruch Shechayanu, when we get to the beginning of the 3 holidays, Sukkot, Pesach, and Matan Torah, the Shavuot, also Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We've reached a new time period. But concerning this whole idea, when a person receives a new type of wisdom, actually there can be a change in the countenance on his or her face. For instance, there is a teaching that Rebbe Rashab wants us to know about, that there was a great sage of Israel, a name of who was mentioned in the Gemara, the Talmudic teachings, the oral Torah traditions. His name is Rabbi Avahu, and we would find a new teaching, an additional new teaching. His face would become filled It would become light full of light. And I think it's from Mishlei. He quotes a verse from the Tanakh, I believe it's from Mishlei, from Proverbs. The wisdom of a person illuminates his face. You see a very bright person, when they express themselves, so to speak, they give off, I guess the English word would be an aura. They give off, you can sense it. Probably a lot greater than, say, you can perceive like the light, glaring over my head. I'm sorry if it's creating some sort of visual disconnect when I do that. Just I didn't plan it the way it's a shkacha pratis. But again, for instance, you see the light, you perceive it, you stare at it, then you might start to analyze in which direction the beams of light are going out. It seems to be going initially from a quick lens in 4 directions. 1 direction, 2 direction, 3 direction, 4 direction, but also I see there's mini rays going around. You start to study and analyze. And if you're a scientist, or you're into physics, you would measure how much energy will be coming off that light. But that's if you're scientifically minded. We want to stay focused on today, blessed souls, that this idea of wisdom is an oneg-driven experience, which is higher than the human experience of joy. And when the individual is experiencing delight, it's something which is concealed within the essence of that delight as it's experienced by a person. So again, you might be talking to a friend and it might be a heated discussion in a positive way, a very intense discussion about a certain matter, say in Torah or in relationships, and they stop for a moment and they come to a realization, from talking about this, you made me look at it another way. And when you ask them, what do you mean I helped you look at this idea about, say, such a relationship in a different way? At the moment that person experienced that perception of, say, in this allegorical presentation, they thought of the relationship in another way, at that point they couldn't speak it. It could be, you might have seen a change in their facial expressions. A smile could have came to their face, their eyes might have rolled, or they might have emanated, wow, I see it another way. And you ask, what do you mean you saw it in another way? And then, again, if their left brain processing is, as we say, gesund, it's healthy, they can start to process it from that initial experience and share it with you why during that discussion about such and such a relationship that they are engaged in, they can look in a whole different way, and you gave them a new light upon the relationship, and they're more appreciative of the relationship. But when we talk about joy, joy is something which is revealed. And when a person is happy because they have attained some sort of understanding of the reason why they should be happy, they can't hold it back. We see this at weddings. All of a sudden, an elderly man, according to his physical fitness, can start to break out and dance way beyond his normal slow-paced trot, because they've internalized it so that, okay, they're dancing at their grandchild or their grandchild's wedding, and they've lived to see this day. Their own children, their grandchildren, how much more so their great-grandchildren, to live to see this experience. They even, at that moment, wow, Hashem has blessed me with this. And they break out and dance, and they pull other people into the dance, and they make a l'chaim, they celebrate with a toast on wine or some sort of liqueur or vodka, whatever it may be. They can't control it. It's out there. They're revealing their heart, and they can reveal their heart in the way of dancing, which is quite physical. They can express their gratitude to Hashem by saying, Baruch Hashem, to all they meet, and how are you doing? Thank you for coming. And of course with the movement of their limbs. Now, in this presentation, as in the present presentations about now is the time to rejoice, I guess we could be accused, and rightfully so, of being very repetitive about certain ideas. But I thought about it before making this presentation, blessed souls. Many activities in life we don't second guess about them being so repetitive, because we need them to survive. our breathing experiences, our heartbeat experiences. Let's say if we engage in sport, no one ever gets tired of taking swings before they get up to the plate to hit a baseball, or for the soccer player stretching his or her legs out before they kick the ball, they start to run around on the field. No, repetition, even in matters of Torah, as a cognitive, spiritual, emotional experience, is something that there's no such thing as learning it too many times, but certainly in many times where we don't internalize a concept and walk away a little bit dissatisfied trying to understand the concept, there is such thing as not learning it enough. So hopefully, with today's presentation, which we're going to conclude now, which hopefully is being concluded in a way of Ahava Chad, one love, Gor Lecha, one destiny, for all of us, but Dachinom Dachishom, in a pleasant, peaceful way. I just want to emphasize this. There's a lot of repeating these ideas, the difference between joy and delight. Delight is inwardly driven. Joy, simcha, is outwardly driven. Because again, think of it as that exercise of every time you go for a walk or a swim or stretching before your martial arts classes, or the very fact that you're breathing every moment, you're living experience here upon this living earth. So we'll conclude with that, and as well to remind everyone, I've got to be good, you've got to be good, we've all got to be good, because Ateva Tov Lehetiv, it's the nature of the good to do good, and the Creator so patiently and lovingly awaits for all of us to reveal our goodness, to actualize all of our goodness, to make all of us, all 7.6 billion human beings upon the face of this blessed earth, faithful stewards in keeping this wonderful abode called earth sustainable, and plowing the ground until the revelation of Mashiach Tzidkenu, our righteous Messiah, will roar out Torah Chadashami Teteitze, dimensions of Torah that even the greatest prophets of old, and even today's wise men, wise women, sages, and all different stages of life have never perceived. So let's continue, and of course, we are accustomed to ending off with our segue, ending smile.